Hi guys, and welcome to another video from Molkify.com, a page for passionate people interested in personal growth and personal development. Today we are gonna talk about a book that helped me overcome my inner battles when it comes to content creating. You know, you have this great vision of what you want to achieve, what you want to accomplish in life, but you just don't really know how to get there because something is holding you back. There's always this almost power drawing you back and keeping you in place. And you don't really know how to overcome and battle this power because you don't know what it is exactly even that makes you not go for your dreams, right? Well, there is an answer, and it lies in this book. It's called The War of Art, and it's written by a guy called Steven Pressfield. To me, this is one of the most inspiring books that I've read over the last couple of years, so that's why I want to share the content today with you. Check it out. So Steven Pressfield is a professional writer. He's been publishing novels for many decades now, but this is the first non-fiction book that he wrote and published. And actually the reason why it took him so long to publish it and why it almost didn't get done according to him is exactly the topic of this book. He calls it resistance. It's that feeling that we get when we try to step outside of our comfort zone, when we try to accomplish something that we know is a little bit bigger than what we're used to, but at the same time we feel like we have it inside of us. We feel like we can do this, and the only thing that is holding us in place is the thing that he calls resistance. He actually has a very good quote on that on some of the first pages. He says, "Most of us have two lives. The life we live and the unlived life within us. Between the two stands resistance." So what he means by that is that we all have greatness within us. We all have the abilities to do great things, to achieve a lot more than we ever thought possible, but then a lot of times we don't do it. We don't execute on our dreams, we don't follow through with them, and oftentimes we even take them to the grave eventually. It's quite sad when you think about it, and what he points out is that the simple thing that is holding us in place and keeping us from aspiring higher is something called resistance. Resistance is really anything. It can manifest in many different forms. It could come in the shape of you overeating, could be drinking too much, could be fighting with your spouse, could be watching too much TV. All these things that we do instead of doing the things we're supposed to do. Deep down inside, we know what we are supposed to do, but then we find some other things to keep us busy because we are afraid of facing resistance. We know there is this resistance inside of us when we follow our dreams, and we're simply too afraid to face it, to battle it down, to grind every single day, and to eventually defeat resistance. So instead we procrastinate and we do something else, and we get miserable on the way. And I'm sure that you know what I mean when I talk about resistance. If you have ever tried anything that is just a little bit outside of your comfort zone, I'm sure you've encountered resistance. And the further you go outside of your comfort zone, the more resistance you face. So if you want to get a college degree, if you want to write a book, if you want to start your own business or apply for a new job, if you want to talk to the woman that you love for the first time, all these things make you encounter resistance, and you need to battle the resistance first in order to further pursue your dreams. So the question now is, of course, how do we overcome resistance? How can we train ourselves to become better at defeating it? And the answer that Steven Pressfield gives in his book is that we need to turn pro. We need to become proficient in whatever it is we choose to do. Whatever arena we chose in which we want to battle resistance, we need to become as equipped as possible. And the good news, Steven Pressfield says, is that we all are pros already. We all are pros in the way that we approach our daily work, right? If we get paid to do something, we have to be pros. We cannot show up as amateurs. So what he says is that we should apply the same principles to other areas of our lives where we still encounter the resistance. And Pressfield gives us a list here of things that determine a pro, in opposite to just being an amateur at whatever it is you're doing. So as a pro, we show up every day. We show up no matter what. We stay on the job all day. We are committed over the long haul. The stakes for us are high and real. We accept remuneration for our labor, meaning we get paid. We do not over-identify with our jobs. We just go there, we execute, and we don't get too attached to the outcome. We are there to battle resistance, to do our job, and to do it every single day consistently. We master the technique of our jobs. We have a sense of humor about our jobs. We don't take ourselves too seriously, right? And we receive praise or blame in the real world, meaning we are actually in the arena. We are not pussyfooting around, we're not trying to avoid confrontation, we're not trying to avoid resistance, but we actually stand our ground. Whatever it is we want to do, whatever arena we chose, we are there and we show up every day, we take it seriously and we take it personally to a certain degree. We identify with what we are doing, we're not over-identifying, but we try to represent and fully stand for the thing that we try to execute. In this book, The War of Art, there is a short anecdote of Steven Pressfield and what it means for him to be pro. So he talks about how he approaches his work. He gets up every morning, he has his morning routine of drinking a cup of coffee, having breakfast, reading a little bit of the newspaper, brushing his teeth, and then he sits down to work. So this is approximately 10 a.m. and then he works straight until 2 to 3 p.m. in the afternoon, until he feels that he's getting tired and he doesn't have it in himself anymore. And he does that every single day. It doesn't matter for him if the pages are good that he wrote. It doesn't matter even how many pages he wrote throughout that period of creativity. All that matters for him is that he battled resistance for that day and he won. He actually built up the willpower and the self-control to sit his ass down and write, type something on his pages, no matter how good or bad it is. He was there, he showed up in the arena, he was pro, and he overcame resistance. So what this book, The War of Art, tries to teach you and what you should take out of it is how to approach your daily work. On the one hand, you should treat your work as one of the most important things in your life. It should be an expression of who you really are. It should represent your core and share it with the world. But at the same time, you cannot get too attached to the outcome of your work. You should see your work as something that matters in and of itself. What matters is the process of creating, not actually the rewards that you get, might it be monetary or otherwise. You should not get attached to the praise that you receive for your work or the blame, but you should only focus on the process of working itself and the everyday battle that you face with resistance. Overcoming resistance is certainly not the easiest path to take, and that's why so few people actually do it. So many people indulge more in instant gratification, and I actually made a video about this quite recently. You can check it out right here, but it's so much more rewarding in the long term if you overcome resistance and if you follow your path all the way until the end without being held back. It's hard, but it's worth it. And I want to end here with a quote from Steven Pressfield that I think is very captivating and very descriptive of exactly what I just said. When we drug ourselves to blot out our soul's call, we are being good Americans and exemplary consumers. We're doing exactly what TV commercials and pop materialist culture have been brainwashing us from birth. Instead of applying self-knowledge, self-discipline, delayed gratification and hard work, we simply consume a product. Get out of that mindset, get out of that consumer mindset, and instead go out and produce. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to subscribe down below. There's gonna be a lot more summaries of personal growth books coming up in the future. Enjoy your day. Talk to you next time.